Hello, I'm Dana Levenberg, member of the Assembly for the 95th Assembly District of New York State. Welcome to my podcast series, which is called Building Healthy Communities. My mission as a legislator is to build healthy communities in every sense of the word: environmentally healthy, economically healthy, physically and mentally healthy, all through the lens of equity. In this podcast series, I will be talking with leaders, advocates, and others who are helping to build healthy communities here in AD 95 and beyond. Along the way, we'll share information and resources for local residents, news that you can use. As Westchester faces extreme heat and flooding, individuals, businesses, and municipalities need to work together to build more resilient and sustainable communities. I have Lauren Brois and Lauren Kroell with me here today from Sustainable Westchester to discuss the resources available to people looking to make environmentally friendly choices in their homes and businesses. Lauren Brois is the Director of Energy Smart Homes at Sustainable Westchester. And Lauren Kroell is the Community Energy Advisor for Sustainable Westchester. Sustainable Westchester is a local organization that provides resources about how you can implement green practices through education and incentive programs. You can learn more about their offerings and their programs at www.sustainablewestchester.org. So welcome, Lawrence.
Hello.
I can say that. I like to say Lauren Square. Yeah.
Yep.
Why don't we start, I guess, with Lauren Brois, or whichever Lauren wants to start, I guess. Tell me a little bit more about what is Sustainable Westchester, what inspired you both to get involved with the organization, and, we'll go from there.
Sounds good. So, like you were saying, Sustainable Westchester is a nonprofit organization, and we're kind of different than other nonprofits in the sense that we're a municipal membership organization, which means the different villages, towns represented by their municipalities are our members. So we answer to them, and we look to provide programming that will help improve their constituents' lives. So we've got our biggest program, Westchester Power. People may be familiar with community choice aggregation, the fact that they receive green energy supply to their homes and small businesses through the Westchester Power Program. We've got resources for people to pursue community solar, clean heating and cooling, zero waste, electric vehicles, really every aspect of their lives that may touch upon using green and clean energy. So we're here to help people, and my motivation for joining Sustainable Westchester, I've been here maybe about 4 years now, 3 years, gosh, is environmentalism. Yeah, well, I've worked in this field for more than 10 years, but at SW, just a couple. Yeah. But my main passion is sustainability. I love doing things to help the earth and to reduce our impact on the earth to provide future safety for future generations to come.
All right. Lauren, you want to talk a little bit about why you got involved?
Yeah, sure. So I've been at Sustainable Westchester for about a year. I started in the Clean Energy Internship Program, which is offered through New York State's Energy Research Development Authority. And that was a really great entry point, I guess, for getting involved in this space that I didn't know was possible. So that was a really great program to explore and then, move on into this role that I'm now in. And for me, I've lived in Westchester for quite a while, and I found this as a really great opportunity to align this newfound passion for and interest in clean energy that I developed in, my undergraduate education and university, and also align it with the place where I grew up and, I'm now continuing to spend my time in.
Fantastic. I'm sure your parents are happy.
Yes.
Very great. So I'm actually in the process of replacing my boiler with a heat pump. What happened is about a couple weeks ago, I guess, we turned the heat on because it started getting cold. And day 2, we thought we had a fire in our house, but it was actually our boiler had broken and there was steam everywhere coming up, which set off our smoke alarms. And yep, in fact, our boiler had broke. We had a gas boiler. Not too long ago, I needed to replace our hot water heater, and I was able to replace the hot water heater with an electric hot water heater instead of gas. I did want to, at the time, replace my boiler so that it wouldn't break now. But that, unfortunately, at the time, the rebates that were available through, I guess, through Con Edison had dried up. They had all been used up. And so it wasn't really the best time. So I thought I had a little bit of time. Apparently, I did have not as much time as as I thought I had. And now, when my boiler broke, I decided, okay, I'm going to switch off. I want to leave gas behind. So every time one of my gas appliances has broken or and ended its useful life, I've thought, okay, well, do I need another gas dryer? Clothing dryer, or can I have an electric dryer? Okay, I'm switching over to electric. So I've been doing this since I had also had an opportunity to put solar panels on my house when my tree died. And the big tree in the back of the house died. Now it's time to replace the boiler. So what did I do? I called Lauren Brois, of course. Said, Lauren, I need some help. Can you give me some guidance? Can you give me some folks who would come over and evaluate my house to see what the best type of new system I could put in place. So, Lauren, do you want to talk a little bit about how Sustainable Westchester helps? Maybe how you helped me, and I can fill in a little bit more, because it's not really a scary process, and hopefully others can see that this sometimes can be an opportunity.
Love how you phrase that, Dana. And I think it can be daunting. People want to delay on these projects. They don't know where to begin. So we've thought at Sustainable Westchester, what are the barriers to helping people electrify? And we try to make a structure and answer each of those stopping points. So the way we're able to respond in the first place is Sustainable Westchester has funding from NYSERDA. So NYSERDA is funding the program called the Regional Clean Energy Hub. So the entire state, every county is able to call up their Regional Clean Energy Hub for assistance with clean heating and cooling, questions about solar panels, questions about electric vehicles. And in our area, if you're in Westchester, Putnam, Sullivan, Orange, Rockland, the 7 counties of the Mid-Hudson region, you are served by Kroell Cooperative Extension of Dutchess County and their partners, Sustainable Westchester being one. So we are able to help people with these questions and help them figure out where to begin. So a lot of times the first thing is, well, my heating system's broken. I want to move to clean heating and cooling. How do I start? And our first thing that we do is people can call us on the phone. They may meet us at a community event. Maybe they're sending us an email because they don't like to talk on the phone. And they say, what can I do in my house? And then we begin with a conversation about the technologies. So thinking about, do you have existing ductwork in your home? Do you have the ability to drill wells in your backyard? Do you have a leaky and drafty house? All of these questions, we have a flow chart for people to move through and then arrive at the idea, okay, maybe a ductless mini split would be the way to go. Perhaps a geothermal, maybe a whole house air source heat pump. And then once we've discussed those technologies and laid out what might be best for someone's situation, we have a list of partner contractors. So our partner contractor list is comprised of folks that are either on the Con Edison utility list or the NYSERDA list of recommended partners. And then what Sustainable Westchester does is we interview local contractors to narrow down the list, because that is a stoppage point. If there's a huge list, you don't know who to call. We've narrowed it down to partners that are local and trusted in the area. They've been vetted by our interview committee and also are able to be our partners in electrification. So if there's trouble along the way or problems that need to be worked out, Sustainable Westchester can be an advocate down the line with our partner contractors.
Right. So as I said, I started with Lauren, and she helped me out by asking some questions, just like you said, and kind of just decided that my old house would probably be best positioned for mini splits. It wasn't likely that I was going to be really successful with geothermal. And so then we moved to, some recommended contractors, of which I called a few, one I had worked with before, and one a new person on the list who was recommended. And then I got 2 proposals from them, and they were different. And I was like, how do I compare apples to apples here when it looks like apples and oranges? So guess what? Guess who I called? Lauren. Well, not everybody always calls Lauren, but maybe Lauren Brois helped me out and connected me with one of your experts who was able to take a look at the 2 proposals and evaluate them and give me some explanation as to why they were different, why, what one had over another in one area or in the other. And I could say, okay, well, this was less expensive, but again, does that make sense? And finally, I did land on a decision, which didn't really take me that long because of the helpful folks at Sustainable Westchester, I have to say. Very helpful.
Thanks. Yes, the free energy coach service is something that we're really proud of. It's offered through a network of partners. Different groups have energy coaches, New Yorkers for Clean Power, Bedford 2030. We're able to connect to the different energy coaches. And that goes back to why we encourage folks to have multiple estimates. This way, you'll have a few reports to share, and then the energy coach can review a couple of the reports. The energy coach is a free meeting online, Zoom, or the phone. They're not coming to your house. So the more information the energy coach has from those multiple reports gives a better analysis.
And in fact, that's exactly what happened. So do you want to talk a little bit about, either one of you, about the financial benefits of switching over to heat pumps and what financial incentives are available? Because obviously, knowing that we have the clean, the CLCPA, which
the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act.
Thank you. In any case, with the Climate Leadership Community Protection Act and with the state's goals in place to reach by 2030, 2040, all these major goals, there are a lot of incentives to help people, to help municipalities, to help businesses actually make the switch off of fossil fuels. But so maybe you can talk a little bit about the financial and other benefits, health benefits. Either one of you, please.
Yeah, I'm happy to take this one. So I mean, there's a lot of excitement right now around what incentives and supports there are to help with making these switches, and I think rightfully so in a lot of cases, because there really is more than there has been before, and a lot of opportunities to stack and to braid these programs to cover even more of the costs. So in terms of what there's different rebates available at the state, the federal, and the utility levels across all of these technologies. So that includes energy efficiency, insulation and air sealing upgrades, as well as air source and ground source or geothermal heat pumps. So at the state level, we see mostly energy efficiency programs, and there's different buckets that people could fall into based on their income level. But what I like to say is that everybody gets something, and it can mean a lot in terms of whether a project is feasible or not. So most New Yorkers are eligible for about $1,000 to $4,000 for energy efficiency upgrades. And then low to moderate income New Yorkers can have that expanded to as much as up to $10,000 for energy efficiency upgrades. And then at the state level as well, there's also incentives for heat pumps through a program called New York State Clean Heat, which is funneled through the utilities. So you can actually receive funding for air and ground source heat pumps through that by working with a participating contractor in the area. And that's helpful as well, because then they have to abide to standards and practices that show that there is going to be an energy savings potential with this project that is planned as well. So you kind of have that as a reassurance that they're going to go through the checks and the measures and the calculations to show that, this is not only feasible for you, but is also going to provide savings in the long run. And of course, there's been a lot of excitement around the Inflation Reduction Act as well, which passed in August of last year. And that has a lot on the table currently and also on the way. So homeowners and renters alike can get access to federal tax credits for heat pumps, energy efficient appliances, as well as insulation and air sealing upgrades. Most of them are 30% of the cost with different caps based on the technology. And then hopefully next year as well, we're going to be seeing more point of sale rebates that are available at the point of, when you receive your invoice, it would show up as a line on the invoice, like an instant discount to take costs off the project as well. So we've definitely got our eyes on all of this right now, because through partnerships like the hubs, we work pretty closely with the state and are able to keep an eye on what's going on. And as you mentioned as well, I mean, they're called energy efficient upgrades for a reason. So with heat pumps can be 2 to 4 times more efficient than our traditional systems, because they're not generating heat, they're transferring it from either the outdoor air temperature to inside or from the ground temperature. And through these kinds of upgrades and efficiency standards, according to the American Council for an Energy Efficient Economy, these can save the average U.S. household $500 per year if they make these upgrades. And that can be, a big difference, especially for low-income households who are struggling to pay their utility bills.
So I anticipate that this is going to be a much more efficient system. But the other thing is that with the rebate that I got through the utility, through my contractor, I'm going to end up upgrading basically my houses, and I'm now going to also have air conditioning, which I never had before. And right now, during, in this period of, extreme heat and cooling period, I'm seeing like my paint deteriorate because of the high humidity that I have in my house. Now I'm not going to really have that issue anymore, because I'm going to be able to moderate the humidity during the summer months, which I think is going to make a huge difference. So it's going to be like, there's other, sort of these other impacts that it's going to have. I think the air quality is going to be better. I know that, theoretically, I mean, we've heard that, that gas can have, negative health impacts. And my husband does have asthma. So, so there's like other potential benefits that I can see that this is going to have. And, it's going, essentially, this isn't a small number, I understand, for many people, but when you think about what the cost is to put to like air condition your entire house, it's usually in the tens of thousands of dollars, I believe, right? Just to put like if I want to put air conditioning in my whole house, the differential between a new boiler now, if I just were to replace my boiler, and this new system that's going to give me heating and cooling, is going to end up only being about $8,000, which is really a lot, still a lot of money. I'm not saying it's not nothing. It's not nothing. It's a lot of money, but it's going to end up, I'm probably going to make back that $8,000 with, in a few years, through the savings. And I'm going to, again, reduce some of the other negative impacts that I think that the high humidity is having on my home, and potentially on our health. So that's another wonderful thing.
Right.
Are there
and
other?
Yeah, go ahead. About that extra 8,000, are you financing the project, Dana, or?
I could.
There is options. So I just want
Right.
to mention that to people if they're thinking, wow, that is a huge number. There is low cost and moderate cost in financing available through NYSERDA. So someone can actually pay off their project over time with their energy savings on their utility bill through a program called on-bill financing. There's also a smart energy loan. So it's another benefit. And the benefits just keep moving, like gaining AC in the summer, not having to lug those window units, if that's something someone had been doing. It's great. Dehumidification. You think, wow, this makes sense. I know why so much of the rest of the world is using heat pumps instead of burning fossil fuels. So
absolutely. So if I wasn't ready to do this, are there other programs that I could have thought about? Like what else is out there?
Yeah. There's lots of things. There's lots of options, and I think it depends on someone's situation. First of all, thinking about, are you a homeowner? Are you in a rental situation in a home, a rental situation in an apartment building? And there's different options for all of that. And probably the easiest one, no action one, is starting with looking at your electricity supply. So are you receiving green electricity? Can you participate in the Westchester Power Program? Because this way, every time you're plugging in your phone or doing anything that requires electricity, you can be using a cleaner source. And that's an important basis to build off of. But for folks that are looking to make upgrades to their home outside of this idea of clean heating and cooling, having that home energy assessment is really the place to start. So a contractor will come to your house free of charge and give you a pathway to making upgrades to your insulation, suggest places where you could use some air sealing, and figure out how can we tighten the building envelope so all that expensive warm air that you're paying to heat in the winter, the cool air in the summer, can stay in the home. And I love hearing from people after they insulate. They say, my house is quieter. I can't hear my kids as much. Or they talk about reduced pests in their home, because if you think about when we're air sealing, you're closing all those dusty gaps that a little mouse may come through in the winter. And it's also closing off dusty areas that are bringing in poor air quality. So a lot of benefits to having the home energy assessment and then doing the work. And I think also tied to the Inflation Reduction Act, it can seem like too much. But the way the Inflation Reduction Act benefits are structured really are so that someone can plan over time, do a little bit each year. And that works out financially too, because there is a cap to each type of upgrade project. These upgrades are something that you may want to spread over time anyway.
And in fact, I have, because I had done the seal. I've added insulation in my attic. I have added insulation. In fact, I couldn't remember if I did insulation in my walls, but the guys who were doing the air source heat pump says, "Oh yeah, you have insulation that you sprayed in." And so I was thinking, "Oh yeah, I haven't seen mice in a long time." So you're right, Lauren. I didn't even realize that. But yeah, haven't had those little fun little guys running around my kitchen morning for quite some time now.
Yeah.
So that's great. And again, one thing at a time, a little at a time. But hopefully we can all work together to get there. I wanted to see if there's any other questions.
I think we have to talk about grid rewards and community solar as well, for folks that are looking to just take an easy thing. So community solar, when I lay that out, people then say, "Oh, I can't do it. I don't want solar panels on my house," or "I live in an apartment. I can't do solar." Here comes community solar for you. So community solar does not require the installations of panels on your own property. There is a solar farm that exists somewhere else in your utility territory, and you sign up for a little slice of that by participating. Every month, you'll see up to a 10% discount on your electricity bill, and community solar is definitely an easy thing to do. Really, it requires no action besides signing up. And another program that we love to talk about is Grid Rewards, Demand Response. So we have a ton of fun with Grid Rewards. The action that you take is tied to really hot days in the summer. You basically get paid to reduce your electricity during a couple-hour period on super, super hot days, and then you'll see the payment come at the end of the year. And the point of this is not only to get paid to save energy, but also to reduce pollution, because we are avoiding the use of really heavily polluting peaker power plants in communities of environmental justice. So definitely want to sign up and participate in Grid Rewards, Demand Response. And for all of these things that we're talking about today, people can reach out to us at Sustainable Westchester. They can call us on the phone. We're happy to talk through the sign-up process.
Great. I'm going to ask 3 questions in a row and give it to both of you. One is, do these individual actions matter? 2, how has Sustainable Westchester been ensuring that low-income communities and communities of color are included? And finally, within that question, I think also, are there resources that Sustainable Westchester has for people with language barriers? I'm just going to warn that we have about 5 minutes left.
Okay. All right.
Go ahead, Lauren. I think the first question we can take is about people having political power and taking action here, right? So if we are
individual actions, yeah.
Yep, individual action. If we're all working in our own homes to take up these upgrades, we're signing up for community solar, we're making energy efficient upgrades to our home, we're showing and indicating that people want this, that we know change is needed, and we want to take the steps that we can to improve our environmental footprint. Okay,
so and that's what about low-income communities, communities of color, and language?
Yeah, this is important. So the CLCPA sets out that at least 35% up to 40%, the goal is 40% of the benefits from all this funding reaches disadvantaged communities. And that is a key part of the hubs. Our hub works with local partners on the ground, working with these communities. You can find us at the food pantry tabling very often, and we are really focused on this idea of wraparound services. So Lauren mentioned the Empower program that can help low-income people get up to $10,000 of free insulation work, and then layering that with a heating program, another $10,000 for a free air source heat pump. So there's additional programs, and making sure people know about the wraparound services is really a key part of not only reaching the state's goals, but making sure these benefits go to the people that have suffered from environmental injustice for the longest time. Okay.
Okay.
And then language. Yes. Yeah. So we are able to help folks on the phone in Spanish at Sustainable Westchester if they call us or email us. NYSERDA has their marketing materials as well as their applications in over 25 languages now. So certainly we are able to help. And if someone emails us in a language that we don't know, we'll figure out who across the state in the hub networks maybe speaks that language, pair them up. And then another thing is on our profiles of every contractor, we indicate which languages they speak. So if you're looking for a Hungarian or Cantonese, certain contractors do have those language capabilities.
Fantastic. That's amazing. Well, that's, I guess, why we are sort of an international mixing pot here. So in New York, that's great. All right, let me just see. So what about, so Sustainable Westchester sounds like such a great organization. Is there a way that people can support the organization and or find out more? I know I gave the email, the website at the beginning, but is there anything else that we can sort of talk about?
Definitely. So we do offer a lot of webinars. So our past webinars are accessible on YouTube. You can go back and watch those. But if you're looking for live webinars, we've got Westchester Power info sessions coming up. Those are in-person and online events, hybrid. Meet the team, learn about our programs. And then we are here if people want to offer a grid rewards campaign next year to their house of worship, to their junior league, to their PTA group. We've got programs that you can use as fundraisers and help support, share the message with your friends and neighbors using Sustainable Westchester programs. So reach out to me, give our phone number a call. The number here is 914-242-4725. And my email is Lauren@Sustainable Westchester, Lauren K@Sustainable Westchester for LK over there. And we're here to help residents.
SustainableWestchester.org, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So we're here to help. If you are our sustainability committee, also we support Clean Energy Communities campaigns. We work with a lot of folks, and there's money on the table for sustainability committees to pursue clean heating and cooling community campaigns, and we can help with that.
Well, I just want to say, when I was town supervisor in Austin, you were great partners. I did have full disclosure. I was actually on the board of Sustainable Westchester, and I'm just think it's such a great organization, really always thinking and looking ahead and trying to figure out how you can be a resource for all of the communities here in Westchester, Putnam, and beyond. And I'm grateful for all that you do individually and collectively. So thank you so much for sharing some great information. That's all for this episode of Building Healthy Communities. Until next time, everybody, be safe and be healthy.
Thanks for having us.